What's going on? This is Ryan with Automatic Comics, and up next I have got a really exciting unboxing here. I've got actually a few books in here that are likely going on to my keepers list. Some books I picked up in that recent Heritage Signature auction, so some big books, excited for this. And one of the books from a run that I think it's a good time to start getting back into. I've been seeing prices come down, so let's see, if you're interested in those books, it might be the time to go after them. Alright, so before we get started, please remember to hit that like button and hit the subscribe button if you'd like to see more content like this. This one should be a little bit quicker video because it's just 2 boxes. There are 3 books in one of them, 1 book in the other. At least 2 are definite keepers, possibly 3 out of these. So these are some exciting books for me because I don't usually, if I'm buying a number of books, it's maybe 1, if any, that are going to go on to my keepers list. But this one has a few. There's some cool books in here, some that I was really excited for. If you're not familiar with the Heritage Signature auctions, I talk about their weekly auctions all the time. But let's see here. But they also have, it's like every 2 to 3 months. I don't know if it's exactly quarterly or what, but they also have these signature or platinum auctions that are just the massively expensive books, you know, where you have the books that are selling for $1 million or hundreds of thousands of dollars. None of these are that. Those auctions last 3 days. So their weekly auction is a 2-day auction, but then they have these big signature auctions that, at least from the comics perspective, are 3 days. They sell all the super big stuff the first day, the pretty big stuff the second day, and then the third day it starts to getting down into some prices that I can actually consider bidding on, which is what these are. And normally I don't put too much time into those auctions because a lot of times they really advertise them. There's a lot of advertisement put into them, and so there tends to be more people that watch them, and then they, which also means that you get much higher prices. And so I haven't had a lot of success finding books in those auctions, but there were a couple that I was interested in, and I did decide to just casually watch them a little bit, and especially because we've been having some prices come down, and since they have some really cool books in these, I thought I might be able to snag 1 or 2. And one of them, I'd completely forgotten about the auction for the 3rd day. I wasn't really planning on watching it. Then I turned it on, and they were one of these books. They were right in a run that I really like, which you will see. And I was like, that price seems really low, and so I decided to bid on it, and I ended up winning that book. And then because of that, I was like, well, maybe some other books might go for some good prices. And they did have a lot of really high sales, but they also had some deals in there, which I just decided to capitalize on. And so I got 3 books here. All right, so these are the 3 books that I picked up from the Heritage auction. First one here, I've actually shown a copy of this recently that I picked up from Super World. I picked up a 9.2, that was the old label, and this one is 9.6. So Swamp Thing #1, CGC 9.6, white pages. This is a Bernie Wrightson cover. I mean, House of Secrets 92, first appearance of Swamp Thing, is an awesome cover, but I think this one pairs really well with it. And high grade to 9.6. I also thought it would, because I was thinking about cracking out that 9.2, and so I kind of wanted to take a look at this one to see how they compared, you know, so I could decide maybe if it's worthwhile to crack out that 9.2 or not. Now, House of Secrets 92 is an amazing cover. It is the first appearance of Swamp Thing. It's got they both kind of have horror vibes to them, but so I've got that here, so I've copied that. So this is House of Secrets 92, first appearance of Swamp Thing. He's on the back there, creeping up on this poor woman. And so but you know, I think these two next to each other, they look really sharp. Those are some nice books. This book in a 9.6 is crazy expensive. I mean, this book in a 7.0 is really expensive, so it's tough to get them, you know, where you're going to have you know, matching grades, but I still think these two look really sharp next to each other. Both have the purple backgrounds, slightly different shades of purple, but 2 really cool covers. So I decided to get that one. I thought the price seemed good, and I was thinking about cracking out the 9.2 to see if I could get a 9.6, and so there's the 9.6 anyway. All right, now this was the book that caused me to start actually buying a couple books from the this platinum or signature auction, because I felt like it went for a really good price. And it is a Batman comic, and I am a huge Batman fan. It is a Golden Age comic, and I think it is, I don't know if I'd say it's the best Batmobile cover. I think it's second best. Best is arguably Batman 20. That's a tough one to beat. But this is Detective Comics number 156. And this is a 6.5. And this is what I'm talking about. This is the type of book you get in these platinum signature auctions. That is a high grade copy of this book. There are only 36 universal copies of this book on the census, and there are only 3 higher than this one. So this is an extremely nice copy for, you know, for this book specifically, 6.5. But I love this, where it's got the schematics on there. I think that looks awesome. Little descriptions of all the weapons and everything that it's got. And then you've got Batman and Robin working on it. And you've got, you know, the bat face on the front of it. I think this cover is awesome. It's also got the red cover. I like the red, you know, everything. So that works for me too. But yeah, there's the bat cover, really bright, really nice. They often have these Red Ryder advertisements in them. But yeah, I was really excited to be able to get this book. Awesome book. So that was the one that started the purchases for that signature auction. This is the one that ended it. I felt like this was a really good price for this one. I sold most of my books from this run earlier this year, and I've been trying to get a couple of them back because I've seen prices come down a little bit, and I've been trying to get a little nicer copies, nicer grades, that kind of thing. So, I have never had this before though. This is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles #1. This is the second print. This is a 9.6 white pages. Don't worry about this thing over here. This is just that paper that they put in the interior to try to catch the off-gassing stuff, to keep the pages looking nice. But you can see here, this is the second printing, and the second printing, you can't tell the difference between the first print and the second print from the front cover. So the way you can tell the difference between the second and the third, or the first and the third, is the blood on the sword is different. There's another little like splat of blood in the T in the middle, but it's the exact same for the second and the first print. So this one is also actually a pretty low print run. The first print only had 3,000 copies that were printed. The second print only had 6,000. The third print, something like 20. I can't remember exactly if it's 20 or 30. So they ramped it up quite a bit with the third print. But first and second are really low print counts, both in 1984. First appearance of the Turtles, first appearance of Splinter and Shredder, all of that. When you look at the census, actually, there are less second prints on the census. My guess is just because the first prints are worth so much more that people are more likely to get them graded. But the census for the second print, there are 513 copies. There are 32 in a 9.6 and only 8 in a 9.8. For the first print, there are 920 copies on the census, with 59 in a 9.6 and 31 in a 9.8. So these are tough to get in high grade, these second prints, and this thing's it is a really nice book, and so very happy with this. Previously, I had a 9.6 of the third print that I sold, and I honestly didn't expect I'd be able to get a 9.6 of the second print, but I felt like this one went for just a incredible price, and I decided I had to go for it. I was talking to my buddy Jake about that one, and when it came up and it was at the price it was at, and I was like, I think this one's gonna go low. I told him, I was like, this is just one of those situations where I was like, I will figure this out later. So I decided to go for it. And those are the books I'm talking about right now that I would be, if you are a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles fan, those books went absolutely crazy. They were one of the first things that went up with the comic boom and the big spikes in the comic market. And they've come down quite a bit. And if you are interested in them, if you're going after those first 4 issues, the larger, these larger magazine-sized issues, I think now is a great time to go for them, because really all they do is just trend up long term. There's so few of them. The print runs are so low. Even in the larger print runs from the later ones where it's like 30 to 50,000, that's still very low comparatively to other books, especially with the demand and popularity of the Turtles. So those ones, I'd be looking for them. I mean, honestly, that's what I've been doing. I've picked up, I think I only need issue 2 again. So I've been wanting to get a 9/8. I haven't found the copy or the price yet for it, so I'm patient. So issue 2 is the one I'm really looking for still. All right, so this is the other book that I picked up. This is part of a run that I have been putting together. It took me a little bit. I had to think on this one for a little bit because it is higher grade than I had wanted to get. But it's one of those books that you just kind of have to, you take your chance when the chance comes, because when you're dealing with these types of rare books, they only come up for sale so often, and when they do, they only come up for sale at a good price so often, regardless of grade. And so I decided that this was my chance with this book. I decided to go for it, and lots of packing peanuts. All right, here. Alright, so I picked this one up on eBay. And honestly, it didn't look like it had been pressed or cleaned either. And given the grade it was at, I mean, that wasn't why I bought it. I felt like I felt the price was good regardless of the if it had been pressed or cleaned. Or maybe it had just been like pressed by CGC or something, and they didn't do cleaning, because CGC really doesn't clean books. They say they do, but they don't. Let's see here. Yeah, I don't think it's been cleaned. The question is, do I want to risk cracking this book out? Because that's a big gamble with this one. But if you haven't guessed what this is yet, based on some of my other videos, this is Famous Funnies number 210, which is the second issue of the Frank Frazetta, Buck Rogers Famous Funnies run, where he was doing these just incredible sci-fi covers. And it is an 8.0, which is just a monster book. I mean, just an incredible grade for these. Now, you will find that with this book specifically, there seem to be a lot of higher grade copies. It's hard to tell if it's somebody that just cracked it out a bunch of times trying to resubmit and get higher grades, or if there was maybe some type of warehouse find and there are a number of them out there. But yeah, I'll show you why I think it hasn't been pressed. I mean, like, look down here. You've got like dirt, like here you've got, so there's lots of dirt on it. You've got like this corner up here clearly has like a dent in it. You can see it there. That has not been cleaned up. And so, I mean, it's almost like maybe it was just sent straight in, or like CGC, they had CGC do a quick press. Because I talked to the seller, and he said he had somebody he had been friends with that decided to sell their books. He reached out to him later, and this was part of a submission that he had just done, and it had just gotten graded recently, and so that all seemed right. And so it's possible maybe he just did a quick submission or had him do a quick press or something. I don't know, but yeah, I mean, like, it's probably hard to see here, but you can tell, like down here too, there's like a little, I can't get it to show up. There's like a bend. I don't know if I can get it. So, yeah, you can kind of see it there. There's like a bend that clearly isn't pressed. And I mean, like, look at these corners. They're like razor sharp. I mean, this is 1954. Like, razor sharp corners, razor sharp edges. Yeah, there's a couple little flaws, and there's some little bit of dirt, and there's like down here, there's a fingerprint right there. But man, this one is tempting. This is a really tempting book, and believe me, I already checked the grader's notes on this one. I checked it before I bought it. The grader's notes were not helpful. There was some information there, but it wasn't talking about like cleaning or that kind of thing. It did talk a little bit about this one, and I think it mentioned this little bend down here, which I couldn't tell if it was color breaking or not from the notes, and it's not. So, man, this one's tempting. I mean, like, look at this cover. The cover is awesome. I mean, it's because you've got Buck Rogers, Saving the Woman again. You've got some creepy monster guy. This is one of the underwater covers, or a couple underwater covers. But yeah, these ones are just awesome. And if you're new to the channel, because I've had some new subscribers recently, and maybe you haven't seen me talk about these books, or you're not familiar with what these are, these Frank Frazetta was a very famous Golden Age and then into Silver Age artist. He did just a ton of incredible covers. He did, like Vampirella #1, as well as just a lot of monster gothic type covers that are just, they're awesome, and so this is 210. The first issue in that run is actually 209, and so that's this one here. And so again, you've got Buck Rogers saving the woman, fighting some monster goblin guys, but that's 209. I picked that one up maybe a year and a half ago or so from Buzzard Brothers on Instagram. Then I had the 210, and I don't really care for 211, so I'm not trying to put the full run together. I'm just getting the issues I like, and I don't really care for 211, so I'm not really looking for 211. Then this is 212, which is now the lowest graded one I have in here, so which is crazy. But this is this space cover again. You've got a woman out there, Buck Rogers going to save these alien monster guys coming out after him, and just incredible sci-fi covers. And then I don't have 213. That is the one left that I want to get. I don't really care for 216, and I'm indifferent on the weird science fantasy 29. I mean, I like these sci-fi type covers, and that one doesn't really fit that mold. Then we've got 214, which is my favorite cover from the entire run. This is just awesome. Red Planet. 213, actually, it looks like the same guy. Maybe I'll throw a picture of it up there. The same guy like coming in after them and kind of like in a spaceship. And it's a cool purple cover, but I love the red covers. I think it's such an incredible cover. And who was it? I think it was Jesus. We were talking with Spectales podcast. He was saying that 213 and 214 were actually very inspirational for Star Wars. And so the Frank Frazetta, a lot of his artwork ended up being an inspiration for some of the content from Star Wars. So, but that was pretty cool. And then the last one that I have here was one that I picked up recently that you may have seen me do an unboxing for, and that is issue 215, which is the other underwater cover. Cool green cover, him again saving the woman from this giant octopus monster thing. And this one is a 5.0 white pages. So this has taken me a couple years, to get these 5 issues. It is not a quick process. When you're getting into things like Golden Age, and I mean, yeah, if your budget is endless and you can just go out and buy them whenever they come up, you can find them a little more easily like that. But my budget is not endless, and I always like to try to find it for a good price. And so it's taken me a while to put these together. 213, it's the one that's still gotten away from me, but someday I'll get that one. But just one kind of like buying tip I have is that this one I picked up, it was like I think it was like 2 days before Christmas. It was something like that, like 2 years ago. And so if you're selling books, do not auction your books with end times right before Christmas, or even almost in the month before Christmas, because people are focused on other things. They're buying Christmas presents and all that, vacations and everything, and they tend to go cheap. And when I saw this one go up on auction and it was going to end like a week before Christmas or a couple days before Christmas, I was like, I know I'm winning this book. and so that's how I ended up with this one. So that's just kind of like a buyer tip. If you've got the free cash at that time, watch auctions around Christmas. You can often find some pretty big deals even on rare books like this. So, but yeah, those are the books that I picked up. That's that famous Funnies run. If you're interested in Golden Age, or if you're interested in like pre-code sci-fi type stuff, that's pretty much the top. For the pre-code sci-fi, it doesn't get much better than that. So, hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please hit that like button, hit the subscribe button if you'd like to see more content like this. I've got more videos over here if you'd like to see some of my other videos, and the subscription button right here. If you'd like to subscribe to the channel, I'd really appreciate it, and I will see you in the next video.